Welcome to the B Sound Podcast. Today is August 6th, 2021. It's Friday. Here we are again. So there's a few things that I have to talk about today. First things first. Today is Coffee and Other Caffeinated Delights anniversary. It was an album I put out back on today, 2013. So that makes it 8 years old. That album came out, and you can check out, there's the single Coffee, which is on this channel if you want to check it out. And that was an interesting album for me. You can check out the whole thing on Bandcamp, of course. Just look up Dan B Coffee. You'll find a million hits for mine. But that was a really interesting album for me. That was stuff I was working on during Raw Mojo, and all that stuff didn't quite fit the band, didn't make the band stuff. And it was a big transition for me because at the time, in 2013, the band had broke up by this time, by August. I think we broke up in June or something like that. And I was ready to move on, do something new. And these were all the songs I had piling up that didn't make that band. Because, I'm constantly writing. And this seemed like the best way to just wipe the slate clean. So I put out Coffee and Other Caffeinated Delights is the title of the album. And it was received all right. People seemed to like the lead single on it. It had a little bit of a revival last year, I think, when the Grunge Rock 420 channel picked it up, and they posted it up on their channel, just trying to boost it up and give it some props. And people seemed to dig a couple of the songs on there. Got some good feedback on a song called When Pigs Fly. Education was another one. And there was a lot going on in my life around that time. Was in a new relationship and was head over heels in love with this person. And unfortunately, eventually that did not work out. Well, or fortunately, because there's been other things, they're all stepping stones, right? One mishap will lead to another great thing. Things work that way. It's kind of like when you make mistakes, they lead to learning. Failure leads to success. You just got to keep working on things. And that's evolution, baby. So another thing I wanted to discuss was I'm on what I'm calling a social media blackout. Now, this doesn't mean I'm getting rid of all social media. Obviously, I'm here on YouTube, and I consider that social media. But what I ended up doing was I had a bunch of different social medias on my phone. I had Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and over the past couple days, I've deleted my Facebook, deleted the Instagram app, deleted the Twitter app, and deleted the TikTok app. And the goal here is not to get off social media completely, because I still have it on my PC, but to stop mindlessly going to my phone every time I'm bored or have some kind of discomfort. I always say I'm never bored, but I don't know if that's because I've gotten really good at getting those dopamine hits from social media whenever I'm slightly uncomfortable. And I think that just puts a block to my productivity, right? There's a lot of things I want to get done in this life. And if I'm mindlessly scrolling on social media, even though I love connecting with people, that's one of my big goals always, is to connect with people. And I like hearing about what's going on in everybody's lives. I can probably get enough of that just by getting on my PC and doing it. Now, I've cut out Facebook altogether right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this permanently or not, because I do have a lot of different pages and stuff on Facebook. There's a page for this B Sound Podcast, as well as my various musical projects. And it's a fun way to just kind of share those things. But on the flip side, it's kind of a mind suck to be on Facebook. At least for me personally, I'm constantly just looking for something inspiring, something positive. And those things are few and far between. You know, I have like 1,600 people that I'm friends with on Facebook. And I struggle to find, you know, genuine knowledge, positivity, uplifting things. And not that they're not there, because they definitely are there. It's just, you kind of got to get through a lot of the negative. And that's not such a bad thing. It's, you know, that helps you keep your mind in check. It keeps your willpower good. You know, there's muscles to be exercised there. But for now, I just think it's best to let that go for a little while. You know, that's been the big theme for me here in the past week or two, is letting things go. I've had a lot of things that just haven't gone the way that I thought they would, which is fine. That's normal life, right? But what I'm saying is sometimes the things that are like under my skin right now, that, well, they're not really there right now, because I've basically at this point let things go. It's mostly just people, a couple people in particular who, and this is just my perception of things, but I feel like certain people like to try to push me down so they can hold themselves up to feel better about themselves. Now, I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that's just how it seems to me. You know, and maybe that's not true. Maybe that's just a story I'm telling myself to make myself feel better. At any rate, I think it's best that those people that are in my life or have been in my life, I don't need to pursue those things anymore. I can let those things go. And in letting things go, I believe when you let things go, I believe that it opens opportunity and room for other things to come into your life. That's where you got to kind of be careful and, you know, make sure that the things that you're letting in are not detrimental. Because I do think that, you know, like I had this little argument in my head right now saying, well, it might be detrimental to me, but perhaps there's someone that it can help if I let them in. Okay, like, for example, I have a friend who's a longtime friend, been friends for years and years and years, but we fell out of touch because, well, to be frank, the guy is very difficult to be around. And I'm not sure if it's a mental issue or emotional issue, but, you know, you might have these people in your life where it's good to kind of see them and catch up and remember some old times, but they're very, very emotionally draining. Well, I had this person come to me recently, and they're really upset, and they wanted to talk to me about some things that were upsetting them. And just from all of my experiences in the past, I know that I need a lot of strength for this. And now thinking about this, getting back to my original point of maybe it's detrimental, I think that if it becomes detrimental to me to speak with this person, even though it will help them initially, I think it could hurt them in the long run, because if it's hurting me and I'm just putting on a grin and bearing it, then that probably causes resentment, which causes this whole entire loop of me, you know, not wanting to help this person. Maybe two options I can see at the moment. There's always more than two options, but there's two I can see at the moment. One being stop the loop by not offering to help, or stop the loop by setting up certain boundaries and helping in the way that I am able. And that's what I ended up doing, actually, was I set a boundary that I don't want to speak on the phone and that I will do this through text. And they weren't willing to do that. So that's where that is at right now. So I guess we'll just leave things at that. As far as my personal feelings on things, right? There's a few other things I wanted to discuss today. The next one being Kevin Smith and the Masters of the Universe. Now, this is a really interesting subject to me, and not because the thing that everybody thinks, oh my God, Kevin Smith lied. Yeah, he lied. He sure did. And we didn't get the show that we thought we were getting. True. But I think that Kevin Smith fooled everybody here. I mean, not necessarily everybody. I'm sure Netflix was in on this. But the whole point of Kevin Smith lying is to draw attention to the Masters of the Universe. So all these people who are making videos on, oh, Kevin Smith lied, that's falling right into it. And all the people who are enjoying the Kevin Smith change that they've done to Masters of the Universe, they're falling right into it too. And some people don't care, right? But I think the point is, well, look, let me put it like this. I was watching a live stream of, there's a YouTuber called Rodimus Primal who does Transformers content. But he decided he was going to do a live stream with a bunch of other people who do this kind of content. And they were all talking about He-Man and how He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, this Kevin Smith thing, has had more press than any Transformers stuff in the past, 10 years or 20 years or something like that. And they're all bad-mouthing it. And that is, I think, exactly Kevin Smith's plan. Because, okay, there's this book put out by a guy named Ryan Holiday called Trust Me, I'm Lying. And in this book, he talks about a movie that he did some work on called I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. Now, the movie was kind of flopping in the theater, right? So what they did to try to bring things up, to try to, really draw some audience in, was create controversy, right? They leaked all kinds of crazy stories about, how the writer was possibly would inebriate women and try to get them, in bed, which, was aimed to anger a certain group of people. They said themselves, so we aim to anger feminists so that people would picket outside of the theater. And it worked. It got all kinds of news coverage. They made they also put out a billboard and then vandalized it themselves with, feminist sayings and things like that to try to, keep going on this whole thing. So I don't think that this is far off the mark from what was done there. This book came out back in 2011, 2012, something like that. And they're still using those tactics today. So, I would encourage anybody who looks at any kind of news and sees these things that are like, oh, they're ruining my childhood by doing this and this and this. Well, that's the point. The point is to get you talking about it, because anger is the number one driving thing to get something to go viral. So anytime they can get you angry, they're going to use that, short of just making a good piece of art, right? They're going to use anger or whatever to advertise their wares. So I hope that people are mindful of that. I have no hate for Kevin Smith. He can do whatever he wants. I like a lot of his movies. You know, I've met the guy who's pretty cool. But, yeah, I think that he did this on purpose. So, just so you know. And it sounds like he's doing more leading on to the next part of this Masters of the Universe thing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then last but not least, I just got done watching the movie Suicide Squad. So yeah, we're all up in pop culture right now. And I just want to say about this movie that I actually did enjoy it. It was pretty good. There was emotional moments. You know, James Gunn, he really had something here. He really did a decent job, I thought. Especially after, I'm a fan of Harley Quinn, right? So it was okay. She was okay in the original Suicide Squad. And then Birds of Prey was just a facepalm, right? Like that was the last movie maybe the last movie I saw, or maybe Sonic. I'm not sure. One of those two before the whole pandemic hit. Anyway, it was just not the movie I wanted to see. It just, you know, it felt like a PG-13 version of Harley Quinn, which, well, let me just say, James Gunn really redeemed Harley's character in this, thankfully. It's, you know, it's still, there's some parts that are cringe, but that's okay. I don't mind cringe. You know, I'm cringe myself at times. So everybody's a little cringe, and that's fine. I just want to be able to like the movie. I want to be able to like the characters. And in this, I liked a lot of the characters. By the way, this is a spoiler-free review. I'm not one for spoilers, but I like the characters, and I like that there's stakes in the movie. You know, there are people who die in this, main characters and things like that. So, and that's kind of part of the fun, is you don't know who's going next, what's going to happen next. You know, what else can I say? When you have stakes and a good story and good characters, I mean, that's all you kind of need anymore. You know, the rest of it, the flashy stuff, that's all cool, but not necessarily necessary. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here, but it's been a good podcast. Thanks for joining me. Upcoming this week is, I'm not sure. I've had some cancellations, and I don't know if I'll have a guest this week, but we're going to try. We're trying to get a guest right now. I've got a few feelers out there. I got a few bites and nibbles, and hopefully I'll have something for you. If not, then, hey, maybe I'm taking a social media blackout break from YouTube for this week. But all in all, you know, if you have somebody that you think would do well on this podcast, hit me up. I'd love to interview people. Love to know what makes people tick. I love to know what makes people tick. If you don't mind, like the video. If you liked it. If you dislike it, go ahead and dislike. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know anything you think about any of this stuff. Love to hear from you. And share if you want to share. I know some of this is worth sharing. Yeah, subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And with that, I bid you adieu. Be sound.